playing for the Spokane Chiefs, and I was away from home and billeting and in a new country and playing in a league with men. And that's a tough league to play in at that age. And I was lucky enough to figure it out along the way. And the last portion of the year, I got really hot and started to score a lot of goals, and I ended up with 36 goals in my rookie year as a 16-year-old. And at that time, you didn't pick agents or get agents even chasing you until you were in the WHO and going into your draft year. We didn't pick them at 14, 13, 15 now like a lot of you guys do. And the phone started to ring. So our playoffs were done and the phone started to ring, and I was down to two agents at the time. It was either going to be Tom Laidlaw, who my family and I really liked. He was an NHL defenseman for a long time, really good guy, seemed to care about me a lot. And then there was also Doug Messier, who was Mark Messier's father, who was Mark Messier's agent, and that was pretty cool to have him wanting to talk to me as well. But then the phone rang one day, and it was Mike Barnett. Now, Mike Barnett was Wayne Gretzky's agent, and the fact that he was calling me and was interested in having me be part of his stable there at IMG with these huge names like Jagger and Gretzky and Brett Hall and Hasek and all these guys, it was absolutely crazy. And pretty much all you had to do was ask, and I was going to say yes. But part of the recruitment process was him flying my father and I out to Calgary to watch a playoff game. And so that was when the Kings were playing the Flames, and it was Game 5 that he flew us out for. It was in April, and I just remember distinctly being in the Saddle Dome and watching that game and being so close to those players that I wanted to be there. This is where I wanted to get to. This is who I wanted to be. And I was sitting beside Mike Barnett, Wayne Gretzky's agent, and he was making me feel great. He was telling me all these things, how great of a skater I was, and what great hands, and what great season I had, and how everything's going to be awesome, and he's going to give me, the best gloves with my name on them. And anyways, it was everything that a 16-year-old wanted to hear. And he was just pumping me up. And at the end of the game, we end up going downstairs, right? We're going downstairs, and now I know I'm going to meet Wayne Gretzky. We're waiting for Wayne to come out of the dressing room. He had a goal and 3 assists that night. The Kings had a big win. They beat Calgary 9-4 or something. They were up 3-2 in the series. And sure enough, out comes Wayne, and Mike Barnett introduces us, and Wayne just really took the time with me. He really made me feel important, and it was an unbelievable experience. I just remember him asking me questions, asking me about where I played and what I wanted to accomplish and how my season went, and then all these really cool questions, like the best player in the world gave me his undivided time and attention. And there was people coming up to him. There's people who wanted to talk to him. You can imagine, he's one of the 3 stars of the game. He's Wayne Gretzky at a 4-point night, and he was shooing these people away, and he was focused on me. And during the conversation, he asked one of the trainers to come up, and I couldn't hear what the conversation was, but the trainer ended up coming back with 2 of his sticks. Wayne ends up signing both of them, gives one back to the trainer, and puts another one on the wall behind himself, and then Wayne, at this point, invites me to dinner. And of course, I was like, yeah, I want to go to dinner, of course. And Barney steps in, he's like, no, Jason, we got a little more business here to talk about. And anyways, that was super disappointing, but I was euphoric still. Time just stood still during that conversation. It was probably 5 or 10 minutes Wayne spent with me, and as Wayne was leaving, he shook my hand and he turned around and he grabbed this stick. And this stick, I don't know if any of you remember or recall, but he had the Easton aluminum, and Easton was a sponsor of him, and he was the only one in the game that had this shiny Easton that would just look like a lightning bolt when the light hit it. And he said to me, Jason, he goes, I scored a goal with this in the 3rd period, and I wanted you to have it, and best of luck in your career. And he wrote on there too, Jason, good luck, Wayne Gretzky, 99. Little did either one of us know that we'd be playing against each other a few years later, but this is still one of my greatest memories as a hockey player. And why is that important? It's important for 2 reasons, that story. One, I think back to when I chose Mike Barnett, and he was this big name who made my ego feel good as a hockey player. But heading into my draft year, I should have been asking him different questions. I should have been asking him, are you going to have time for me when things maybe don't go well? If I run into some adversity, are you going to be there to pick up the phone? Are you going to be able to walk me through some of these things? Because guys and girls, when you're trying to get somewhere, when you're trying to get that goal, that thing that you want, there's going to be problems. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be things along the way that trip you up. And the people you surround yourself with is super important. So how you build your team, whether that be your friends, whether that be your agents, whether that be skills coaches or nutritionists or whatever it is that you have around you, it's important that these people care about you as a person as well as a player, because getting through the hard stuff doesn't have to be a solo effort. It doesn't have to be you by yourself. You don't have to feel like you're on an island. And as good as as Barney was for me in the commercial side of things, he was a little bit too big. I was way down on the totem pole. You know, Gretzky was up at the top of the totem pole, and then I was down at the bottom. So as far as me having time for Mike, it didn't really happen, and that's fine. That's what it was. But looking back on that, going into my draft year, I definitely needed some help. I needed some help later on during my career too, and to have somebody in my corner that I could have talked to would have made a big difference for me. The second takeaway from that story is be like Wayne, right? Be like Wayne. Here's a guy who's the best player in the world, best player of all time, who left an impact on me, not because he was the best hockey player, but because he was an amazing human being. He took the time for me. He made me feel good about myself. And that's something that you guys can all do, right? Because somewhere you are somebody's idol right now. You have played the game well enough. You've done things in hockey that there's somebody younger than you that's looking up to you that wants to be like you. And if you can make those people feel good, if you can practice that skill of giving people time, of giving people your attention and making them feel good, not only is that going to benefit you as a human, but it's going to benefit you as a hockey player. Because that's something scouts look for too, what your character is. How do you interact with people? What type of a person are you like? And people want good people on their teams, right? So be like Wayne. Take time for people, make people feel good. And remember that you're a role model for somebody out there. One interesting thing that Wayne said that I'll just finish with in closing is Wayne Gretzky is quoted as saying that hockey is 90% mental and the other 50% is physical. So that's a little joke from Wayne. Maybe he wasn't too good at math, but the idea here is that the mental game is a really big component of hockey. And not only on the ice mentally, but away from the rink. What are you thinking about away from the rink? How are you dealing with problems and adversity? How are you preparing yourself for the game that night? And what are you doing with your spare time and getting yourself ready and dealing with the distractions of everything that goes on nowadays in modern day life? And to back that up, Mike Sullivan reiterated that at the NHL's Coaches Conference this year that I attended. He said the mental game is the next frontier in sports. Most of us focus on the physical side of things, right? We're always focused on how to get stronger, how to get faster, how to get quicker, how to have a better shot. And those things are all important. But if the mental game is the next frontier in sports, like Mike Sullivan says, and if it's 90% mental, like Wayne Gretzky says, how much time are you spending on the mental side of things? How much time are you dedicating to your craft, to how to think the game better, how to prepare better, how to prepare your mind for adversity, and how to overcome obstacles, and how to eliminate mental mistakes when you're on the ice? This is such a critical element, and it is something. It's the new wave. It's the next era.